Good morning, everyone. I'm Pastor Craig, and it's time for this morning's Children of God time. So it's probably no surprise to you that we are in the midst of a challenging election cycle in the United States for the office of president and for other offices on the national level, the regional level, and the local level. We are in the midst of being overwhelmed sometimes by political ads, by conversations that people have that can be divisive or can lead to arguments. We are also in a time where it's important for us to be able to express ourselves and also to be able to vote in these various elections. One thing that helps me in the midst of these challenging times, especially this year, which seems to be incredibly divisive, are words that come from Jim Wallis, a person of the faith that I respect highly, who said, "God is neither a Republican nor a Democrat." He reminds us that God is bigger than the organizations that we have on our human communities and in the world. But God organizes our hearts in a way that influence how we express those views in our communities. It's good to remember that God is neither a Democrat or a Republican, and you can fill in the blank, nor a libertarian, nor an independent, etc., etc., etc. To me, this is an important reminder that is also reflected in the gospel from today. Jesus is tested, and some would say the gospel actually outright says that Jesus was tested so that he could be trapped by the legalistic Pharisees of his day. They were trying to ask him a question, not concerned with how Jesus would answer it, because either way they figured that if he answered it one way, he would be trapped, and if he answered it another way, he would be trapped. They didn't think he could find a way to answer the question and not be trapped by them. Jesus was a thorn in their side. He was pointing the way to God in a way that was bigger than what they were doing, looking at the legalistic interpretations of religion in their day. By not answering the question directly, but turning it on its head, Jesus not only avoided the trap, he helped remind his followers, who were no doubt listening to this very public display, that God is the one who organizes our hearts and moves us to act in this world. We are God's hands in this world, and some would say currently. So while God does not tell us how to vote or how to organize ourselves specifically in communities, God does tell our hearts and orders our hearts in a way that helps us to remember what is God. We are called to love God fully with all of our hearts and to love our neighbor as ourselves. We are called to seek justice, to work mercy, to grant peace, and to live lives that are full of forgiveness. We are called to raise up human dignity. We are called to stand with those who are struggling in this world. We are called to move folks in a way where we can create just societies that would reflect how God's call gets lived out in our lives. So no matter how people are voting this season, no matter where you are moved to join the political spectrum that organizes our human world, may we be guided by God and by Jesus, who tells us to give to the emperor what is the emperor's and to give to God what is God's. And to remember that what we give to God is the most important in our lives and moves us in ways that opens our hearts, that creates justice, and that wages peace, mercy, justice, and kindness in all that we do. Amen.